my parents joke about when I was little, I would go on the coffee table in my little Doc Marten boots, and I would like stomp up there and make everybody in the room be quiet so I could like sing songs to them. And it was usually like Disney songs or like the bare necessities from the Disney movie, The Jungle Book. And I grew up musically because my grandma is a concert pianist and then my grandpa is an opera singer. So I always kind of grew up around music, but my mom used to sing as well, but then she had to have a vocal surgery and she quit kind of doing music after that. So she jokes that it skipped a generation, but I don't think so. I think her voice is still pretty. But yeah, so I tried like kind of writing songs when I was younger. I think I wrote or actually wrote down my first song when I was about 5 or 6, and it was something about goblins or something, but it was pretty sketchy. But I just kind of always wrote songs, and I always wanted to know how to play an instrument to kind of bring it to life. But once I learned I tried to take piano from my grandma, but I wasn't exactly the best student because I was little. And it just didn't really pick up. Sorry, that's my dog barking. It just didn't really pick up the same way that guitar did. And so about 5 years ago, I got my guitar, and that's when everything just kind of finally fit together the right way. Well, when I started playing piano, I was really little. So I was like probably a toddler. I know I was pretty little, but then I never really kept with it. And then I tried again when I was like 10. And about 5 years ago, I think I got the guitar when I was 12 or 13. Now I'm 18. So I well, I saved up forever to get it. When I finally got my guitar, I just didn't know how to use it, so I kind of was making things up on it. And then it's a joke with my producer now, because actually the first song I wrote on my guitar is going on my album, and when I gave him the notes that I wrote to it, like I didn't know what the names for chords were, so I was just making up names for them. So I thought that like this one chord sort of looked like a G chord, because I knew like the basic like C and G and like F and just simple chords. And so like I called it the G-ish chord. So then he was reading through all of my notes and he was like, what is git? Why does it keep saying gish? Like, what the heck is gish? And finally I was like, no, I was trying to say that it's sort of a G-ish. And he was like, okay, Kendall. And so that kind of actually became a joke, and now I call my guitar gish. But yeah, that's when I finally started playing. And everything changed. Once I was able to play the guitar, it was definitely my instrument. Like I picked up on it and I practiced like so much harder, and like because it's not really work when you love it so much. So I think it was just simple for me to like spend hours making my fingers bleed because I loved it so much. And now it's just, I don't know what I would do without it. I think I would be a crazy person. Well, one of the things that I would say definitely motivates me in everything is my faith. And I get to have a really awesome band that I'm also a part of called Undivided. And watching all of them kind of do music, it definitely motivates and inspires me because they always push me. Like this week was the first time that in church, at least, I had played with the band with my guitar and sang at the same time. And usually when a new person comes on our team, they let us have a music stand, but they took mine away because they're like, no, you're one of us now. You're not allowed to have a music stand. You just have to know it. So that was definitely scary, but I love the fact that they push me and that I don't get to just be comfortable, because I think it's hard to grow when you just keep doing little things and staying on the safe side. So I was really like blessed to have really cool musicians to get to learn from. But also, ever since I was little, I knew I loved music, and I grew up listening to awesome music because of my mom and dad liking good music. So I can remember like my dad blaring like Guns N' Roses in the car and me like singing to Sweet Child of Mine, or like just Sheryl Crow, like amazing musicians that I just kind of grew up listening to. And for some reason, I would definitely say that Taylor Swift had a very giant impact on me musically because before I got her first album when I was, I think, 11? No, 11 or 12 when the first one came out. Like, I thought that I wanted to be like Hannah Montana. I had no idea what I wanted to be as a musician, and it was silly what I thought like would be good for me to do as a musician. And then I finally think I realized when I started listening to artists like Taylor Swift or like honestly Johnny Cash, just older musicians too, like the way that they didn't sugarcoat what they were feeling in their lyrics and just kind of put it all out there. Like I think that kind of inspired me a lot and like pushed me as a musician because I tend to try to sugarcoat things, or I tried to write things like, oh no, this sounds lame, but then I'll play it and then someone else will actually relate to it. And I think that's what's really cool about musicians that I've grown up listening to is just it's had a huge impact on me just because I love listening to people just say what they're thinking and not be afraid to just kind of feel it through their music. Yes, I grew up figure skating. I have a weird medical condition. I'm actually allergic to 95% of all foods and have like a feeding tube and other things. So figure skating was not at the top of the list of the things that they thought would be safe for me to try when I was growing up. But I had my mind set on it, and just like I always grew up singing in church and stuff like that, but I wanted to do some kind of a sport. And as a little girl, I would like watch ice skating on TV and just like sit there seething in my chair, like, no, I want to do that so bad. So finally, the doctor said it was a bad idea, but I was kind of bound and determined and finally convinced my mom to take me to this little Parks and Rec class that they had at the local ice rink. And I just loved it because it was really, I mean, I grew up in and out of the hospital, so it was just like a safe, free place for me to just like have fun. And also, honestly, figure skating has grown my love for music even more because the purpose of making a program in skating is interpreting music. And so it's really cool. It definitely made me really appreciate classical music in a lot of ways just because we skate our programs to like beautiful things like Phantom of the Opera and like Beethoven and just like the prettiest music you could think of. And I like have a whole new appreciation for that because you do have to listen to every single beat because you have to do steps along with it. So it was nice to definitely like have that kind of influence too without even really knowing it. But I've been figure skating for I think 13 years now, ever since I was 6. So I love it. It's just it's hard to do everything, and my health kind of took a toll on that as well. So I mean, 2 years ago I was ranked third in my region for my level, and then I had surgery, so that kind of took a toll on that. And honestly, it seemed like the worst thing ever that could have happened, but when it happened, I kind of all I could do was write music. And so that just, I mean, one of the songs that has been really influential to people through my music that I wrote is because of that situation. And it has been able to like touch others just because I went through that situation and wrote a song about it. So it's really cool to me that even like when you think terrible things are happening, it actually kind of ends up being a good thing in a weird way. Well, I think my first time ever going and speaking publicly about food allergy awareness and anaphylaxis and stuff like that, I was, I think, about 8 or 9 years old, and I went to a food allergy walk. And I just realized, because growing up, there really wasn't that many organizations out there to help families with kids with food allergies or feeding tubes and stuff like that. And so when I got involved, I saw a huge need for other little kids growing up that just needed someone to talk to and to know that, like, it's okay to carry around your EpiPens. Like, you don't have to be embarrassed. And, like, especially if you have a tube, like, you shouldn't be embarrassed. And I think that was a huge thing for me growing up. I got involved in that and was able to actually start going to food allergy walks and like creating teams of people and speaking to little kids. And that's my favorite thing. Like, I actually a couple weeks ago just got back from a camp getting to work with little kids who are also anaphylactic to food. And it's there was one of them that is so much like me as a child. It is tripping me out because she is just so cute, and like the way that she talked about her allergies reminded me of me because I would go up to anyone and just be like, "So I have an EpiPen, and this is why." And like I was just very talkative as a kid. So I think it's important, though. It's so important to make sure that people know about it and can educate themselves, just like any other disorder, because I think it definitely can save lives. I mean, unfortunately, our community has lost quite a few adults and children just from not having the resources or the education they need about anaphylaxis and what it is. And it's sad. And I think kids should never feel embarrassed because they have a disease or a disorder. Like, it really, honestly, if it weren't for my disease or my disorder, I really don't think that I would be the person I am at all. Because, I mean, it's not a great thing, it's hard, but it's also like I've gotten to do so many cool things and talk to so many amazing people because of it. So I have a service dog. Her name's Lola, and she is an allergen detection dog. She's actually a peanut detection dog. So I got her for when I go to college. I'm currently taking a gap year, but in a year I'm going to be going out to college, and it's really helpful because I've never been to school. I've been home hospital schooled by my school district. They send teachers in to teach me because it's not safe for me to be to school or be at school because several times, unfortunately, I've almost lost my life due to touching something with my allergen or peanut or nut residue on it, and like wiping my eye or eating something I'm allergic to on accident. And it's definitely scary because a lot of the times it's not even what you're eating, it's just your environment, because someone can eat like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and it can be on something like a table or a chair and you won't know, and so you just sit down and then that same protein gets on you, and then it's just not a good situation. So I got Lola 2 years ago. It was kind of an accident, actually. My mom saw a 911 post from some rescue group, and they needed help fostering these puppies. And so she's like, okay, like I was taking a break from skating at the time because my coach was in China. So I had like a week break. She's like, I can do this. And I thought she was crazy, but she's like, I can do this. Oh, sorry about that. My phone is being weird. So we got Lola and her sister, the two little tiny puppies that needed to be bottle fed every 30 minutes. And we were only supposed to keep them for like a week or so until we could find like a stable home for them. And we interviewed several people, and everybody loved Lola's sister, whose now name is Gracie. Because she was like the cute little sweet fluffy one, and she was such a cute puppy. But no one seemed really interested in Lola, and it was sad because I, in the meantime, was falling in love with Lola because she was an interesting puppy. She was very clumsy, which I guess I saw part of myself in because I'm extremely clumsy, but she would just like toddle around, and then like while her sister would barely take any of the bottles, she would take like two. Like she was this cute little chubby little thing. And I'd been talking to my parents for a while about possibly getting a peanut detection dog because it could definitely help me, but I was always kind of on the fence about it. I was like, I don't, I'm already the girl with the tube. I don't really want to be the girl with the dog, and like all these lame things that I had in my head. And then once I met Lola and didn't react to her, which is really rare because usually I have like outdoor allergies to dogs, but when we like had the puppies, I didn't, get hives or anything, which is really rare for me. So I was like, Mom, like, what if we could have Lola trained as a detection dog? And my dad, because we already have two little dogs, we have like a min pin and a chihuahua, and so he was like, we do not need another dog, like no way. And she's a big dog because at the time she's actually half lab, half border collie, but they thought she was going to be half mastiff. So they thought she was going to be like 100-pound dog, like. And so he was just like, there's no way. And I was just like, no, it's okay, I'll take care of her, I'll do everything. And we had her evaluated at the dog place to have her trained at a police academy where they train like bomb dogs and narcotic dogs that detect things like that for the military and for the police force and stuff like that. And so they interviewed Lola, or sort of evaluated her, and she didn't really want to play with the toy. And because of that, they were worried, because I guess usually how they train dogs to detect scent is they make their drive for the toy super strong so that they want to get the toy, and if they sniff what they're supposed to and alert to it, then they know that they can get the toy. And so why is my phone being weird? Sorry. They know that if they get the toy, they can, that's their reward, so they get really excited. But Lola wasn't really interested in her toy at all, so they were kind of like, to be quite honest, your dog is kind of stupid. And I was like, oh, thanks. Like, I think she's very smart, but whatever. So we were kind of defeated because it was one of the leading canine training things in the country, and we knew, like, if they don't think she could do it, like, obviously, like, she probably can't. While in the meantime, I was like, no, like, I think she could do it. Like, I think they're wrong. So I didn't even know what I was talking about. I just loved Lola. So a week later, the trainer actually called us, and he said, I've been reviewing some tapes of this other dog that I thought was going to be a complete failure, that I thought could never be a detection dog, and it ended up being like one of the best detection dogs that we have here. And he was like, I really think that I want to at least try some basic obedience and stuff like that with Lola and see if she picks it up. And so we let her go off to training. It was hard because for a little over 6 months, we only got to see her on the weekends. And that usually we got lucky, because usually you just ship the dog away and you never get to see them until they're done training. But you have to be a big part of the training process, because you have to learn how to be a handler as well to the dog and not just its owner, which was hard because I baby Lola a lot, and she's like my little furry child, so I don't like to be mean to her and like tell her what to do, but I had to learn to like be strict with her. And it was such a win situation, because she ended up completely shocking all of us and becoming such a good detection dog. And since I've had her, I haven't had to use a single EpiPen. I haven't had a reaction, which is amazing, because she goes with me most of the time when I go anywhere, and she alerts me if there's peanut residue. She's only trained on peanuts right now, but we're looking at getting her certified in some of my other allergens that are really severe, because the only ones that are that severe are all nuts. And so we might do walnut or almond or something like that next. But right now she's just trained on peanuts. But even having that, I mean, it is so helpful, because I don't know what is around me. So it's really helpful to have an extra nose telling me like what my surroundings have on them. And it's also super helpful for when I go to school, because like when I sit down at my desk, I can just have her detect and tell me like, okay, not tell me, but alert to me if there is my allergen is in the area. So she's literally my best friend. It's so crazy that I'm a crazy dog lady now, but she's definitely a huge inspiration for everything I do, because we're kind of a package deal. You can't really get me without the dog. But I'm just so grateful for her. She's such a good dog. Moving forward, I'm super excited because I'm working on my album right now, my first album, so I'm so excited about that. We've been in the studio a lot, lots of hard work, but I'm so excited seeing how all the songs are unfolding, and just I've been working really hard on becoming a better guitar player so that I can accompany myself the right way and focus on entertaining and not just playing, and all of those little things. And I think my goal would just be to continue writing songs that can reach people. And I've never really been one that's obsessed with the idea of fame and fortune, because I know all the things that go along with it, but I definitely just want my music to reach people, because if it weren't for amazing artists that I got to listen to, like, I don't know what I would have done. And so I just really hope that my music can help people get through hard things in life, and also just music that they can feel and that hits home with them. And I think if that wasn't the purpose, like if I wasn't writing songs that people could relate to, I don't really know what I would be doing because it's just such a big part of me now to be able to like see people react to something that I've actually written or hear people singing along to it. That just sort of shocks me completely because I can't comprehend how anyone would like how anything that I wrote would do that, but it's just so great to watch to know that people are understanding like what you're putting out there. And so I guess my goal would just be for that, for my album to do that, and I'm super super excited to see how that kind of pans out and see what people think. I mean, I don't really know how it's going to turn out, but I definitely am putting every ounce of effort in to make the album as good as it can get so that people like it. Well, I recently created a YouTube channel, so it's Kendall Renee Music, and that would be. I also am creating a account as a website soon. It would also be kendallreneemusic.com. And so I'm gonna start kind of slowly but surely posting kind of snippets of some of the songs that are gonna be on the album, and also just covers and stuff like that. And I have a Twitter account that I always am on all the time, called, well, that one's actually Ken Ren Music, but Kendall Renee Music was taken, so that's why that happened. But yeah, it's pretty simple. As far as like looking me up, it's just hard definitely right now because there's so much that I've done for my advocacy work, and it always comes up whenever people are looking for my music. So then it's like, I think it's distracting, and it's also kind of like overwhelming because they're like, well, what do I click on? I'm like, where's her music? And there's a lot of stuff with the figure skating. So I definitely, that's why I decided to use my middle name as sort of my stage name, Kendall Renee, so that at least it would be easier, hopefully, for people to hear my music. And it will be on iTunes as soon as the album comes out, so that'll definitely make things a lot easier, and SoundCloud and stuff like that. Just honestly, thank you for watching, and also, if you took the time to listen to my music, it means the world to me, and I hope that you understand and like it, and I hope that it can hit home with you.